Welcome back to another edition of the Roll Toddy Draft Blog. We are going to be previewing the Alabama-Ole Miss game. This is a big week for Herbie May and I here. Herbie, are you ready for rivalry week?
On. It is so on, dude. Bring it.
Well, we're going to do about a four-part segment here, talking about just kind of the state of the teams, how they are players, key players. But let's start off with, like I said, the state of the teams. With Alabama, I know for me, obviously, new offensive coordinator Lane Kiffin has brought in a lot of new wrinkles to the offense. Amari Cooper is having a phenomenal season. But at the end of the day, Alabama is saying they're looking to run the ball. So I expect when Alabama arrives in Oxford and right after kickoff, that you're going to get a heavy dose of that run-heavy offense with, obviously, the Blake Sims wrinkle of his ability to run the ball as well as drop back and pass, something you've really seen some improvement on. And I expect Alabama overall always to play that tough defense. But I'm going to be interested to see how they scheme their style to play against an Ole Miss team that has definitely improved since last year when they came to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, I remember that I made the trip the past 2 years, and obviously this is a different game. It's got different hype. Game day's coming to Oxford, and there's more riding here. And I think this defense is definitely something to battle against, man. I think this Ole Miss defense is real. I didn't like how we played against Memphis this past week, but I'm expecting us to come out, and I'm expecting us to throw the ball. I think we are going to rely a lot on Bo Wallace to come in, and he's going to have to really air it out, and he's going to have to take some risks. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think this is our opportunity to finally win, and I think it's going to come down to some risks, and I think a lot of it's going to come down to how Bo Wallace plays this game.
I definitely think Bo Wallace is a key for Ole Miss, just like I think Blake Sims will be a key for Alabama. It's going to be an interesting way to kind of see how these two quarterbacks, who Bo Wallace now going into his third year as a starter, how he's improved in this game, where in a matchup where he has not really played too well. And Blake Sims, who is the guy that, I'll fully admit that no one in Alabama really wanted to start. Everyone was looking for Jacob Coker. But Lane Kiffin has come in and really made a real quarterback out of Blake Sims. And I think that is really part of Alabama's identity, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, they need to obviously be very careful in that pass game with the pass defense. The pass rush hasn't been great for Alabama, but the front seven has still been sturdy. And I think Kirby Smart is going to really dial up some blitzes to try and throw off that hurry up offense that Ole Miss runs.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think you're right in saying Bo Wallace definitely hasn't played well in this game the past couple of years, and like we both just said, he's going to be a big key here. And I think my biggest concern is if you get him frazzled and he starts throwing the ball and running around like he doesn't know what he's doing with it, we're going to start seeing interceptions, and then we're going to have a big problem. Then we're going to have to rely on the run game, which we just don't have that power back that you guys have. We just got to have so many little speedsters and small guys that that do great things, but that worry me against the Tide. So. I think so much of this game is riding on Bo Wallace, but the defense of yours is pretty stout, pretty good. I'm really, really excited about our front seven this year, and our secondary is pretty great, man. Tony Connor and Cody Pruitt they're going to be huge keys to this game, and they need to get on Amari Cooper early. They need to hit him hard, and they realize that we're here to play this game, we're here to play you, and we're going to knock you off your feet.
Absolutely. Now let's move on to a little bit more negative subject, but injuries coming into this game. Like we said, it's the first ranked matchup for both teams, and Alabama's first road game, so injuries can loom large for either side. Herbie, tell me a little bit about the injuries on the Ole Miss side of the ball, if there are any.
So I think Senquez Golson on the defensive side of the ball is not going to play this weekend. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's above 50% that he's not going to play, which is going to be a big hit. I mean, he is a great outside linebacker who's all over the field, been making great plays for us all season, and his last season as well. And he really, if we don't have him, that's going to definitely be a big hole that in our defense that Saban's going to exploit. So that's our one big injury out of our starting crew this week.
Yeah, Alabama was lucky enough to come off a bye week, so they've had some time to heal up after a few injuries that they noticeably had. In Florida, obviously Blake Sims with that shoulder and arm stinger was just really a deep bruise or a stinger, so it wasn't a huge concern, but he was on a pitch count this past week, but so far today has been a full go. I just read earlier online. And the other one I would say is Eddie Jackson. Tony Brown, the freshman from Texas, got a lot of playing time and started for the Crimson Tide, but Eddie Jackson's a guy who had played a big role against Ole Miss last year in that shutout win that Alabama had in Tuscaloosa. But going into Oxford this weekend, I think Eddie Jackson, his ability to come back and play after not only recovering from an ACL tear this spring, but just already to be playing and having an impact, I think is big for Alabama. Other than that, though, I can't really think of any injuries. Last week, Derrick Henry made his return after having a shoulder injury and obviously went for 100 yards against a good Florida defense. So I don't think that he has any injury issues. So I think both sides, it looks like the injury issues should be pretty cleaned up, and you should have two pretty full squads going up against each other.
Yeah, I think it's the right setting. I think this game is, I think everyone's been waiting for this game. Certainly everyone in Oxford's been waiting, man. We've been talking about game day for the past 3 weeks, or since the start of the season, honestly. And, I think everyone's ready. I think this is the game. I think this is a team that Saban respects a lot more. And, I think one of the huge keys to your game is going to be coaching. I mean, we've talked about it before. When you give Saban more than a week to prepare, he's going to find holes and he's going to exploit them, and which is what frightens me the most. I mean, it's like, when he plays the national championship against Notre Dame. I mean, it was that first drive that he ran. It was just so unbelievable. It put fear in the eyes of Notre Dame fans. And, that's probably one of my bigger fears is the fact that Saban has had 2 weeks to prepare for this game.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's all we have for this first segment on the Ole Miss-Alabama game. Keep watching for our 4-part series. We'll have part 2 coming up to you tomorrow shortly. Thank you for watching the Roll Toddy Draft Blog.
Toddy Toddy.